Okay. I'm not going to explain this. If you know, you know. First off, I just want to say this is not my original idea, as I'm sure most of you know. The One Day Build format is a staple on the Marling Bates channel, so all credit goes to him. With that said, let's talk about what we're making today. So I've seen a bunch of videos of these Japanese minnow lures. I'm pretty sure they're meant for trout. Actually, I'm certain they're for trout, but I'm pretty sure that the smallmouth and the pike minnow in the river would love them, so that's the idea. I drew up a pretty generic design from looking at a bunch of different versions of this lure style, and this is what I came up with. As always, the first couple steps in these videos remains cutting out the bait on the bandsaw and then smoothing everything out on the disc sander. Next up is shaping the bait with a knife and some sandpaper. Sometimes as a maker you realize you need a tool that you don't have. I'm not saying this was the perfect solution, but hey, it worked. Then I installed the hook hangers and the line tie and poured the tiny amount of lead in the belly of this bait that it needs. The last step before the paint is to install the lip, and I always find a way to mess up this step. For some reason, making a symmetrical lip is impossible for me, and even when I get close, I end up installing it in the bait crooked, so. Against all odds though, I did a decent job with this one. Last up is paint, starting with white. I wanted to imitate a young trout, so I went in with some fleshy yellows and greens to get a base coat. Then I added a red stripe down the middle of the bait with the edge of a stencil and brushed on the spots. I did have to do the par marks by hand because I don't have an oval stencil, but they came out decent, so it was fine. Overall, I'm happy with the final look of the bait, but I do wish that I'd put some gill details on and had real eyes on it, but I just didn't have any that were small enough. The last thing I did was put a couple coats of UV clear coat on it, which again never seems to go well. It always ends up somehow both having drips and spots where there is no clear coat whatsoever, no matter how evenly I brush it on. I don't have this problem with epoxy clear coats, but for some reason the UV resin just will not go on evenly. Anyways, now that the bait is done, which took about 6 hours by the way, I don't know how Nate can do such intricate designs in such little time. It seems impossible to me. Anyway, it's time to fish. Let's give this guy a few casts. And cast towards those trees. There we go, already. Hell yeah. Little smallmouth. Okay. Come here. Look at that. And there it is. That is exactly what I was hoping for. Pretty little smallmouth on a beautiful little minnow lure. Oh, today's gonna be fun. And I'd love to show you more footage of me fishing with this bait, and I will do that, but not in this video. You're just gonna have to wait for the Russian River film to come out, and you'll see it more then. Along with all the other baits that I made, including catching fish on the glide bait and the sucker, which has already happened, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you next week. Later.